Hello everyone, this is Julio. I'm a product specialist here at Celtra. Thank you for joining me today. Today we'll be going over a 30-minute session that encompasses trafficking within Celtra. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get started. As I mentioned, today is our trafficking session, so it's a 30-minute session. My name is Julio. I'm a product specialist here at Celtra, and I'll be your guide today. So let's go ahead and get started. I think the best way to start is just to start at the campaign level, as before we start trafficking, we need to have our campaign set up along with the ad that we want to traffic. Before we hop into that though, excuse me, I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the account settings here, because I do want to illustrate to you a few things here that may be of interest to you. So first of all, here in the account settings, obviously you can adjust your domain name and your account logo and so forth, but under users as well, here's where you would set up new users to your account. So this is useful to you, especially if you're going to be adding on specific roles. So in this case, you can add a person by their first name, last name, and email, and then you can go ahead and assign a specific role to them. So in this case, if you give the role of a trafficker to your user, they'll have exclusive access to the trafficking portion of our platform. As you know, the Celtra platform encompasses three main portions. One portion is the AdCreator platform itself, where you can go ahead and build out really rich, engaging ads. And then you have the trafficking portion, where you can go in there and set up the placements, open up the tag generator, and flight your ad. And the third, obviously, being the analytics dashboard. We can go in there and see how your ads are performing. So this is just a way that you can break down the roles for the user. Admin would give them access to all portions of AdCreator, and Builder would give them access specifically to the Builder, and Analyst would give them access to the analytics dashboard, and Trafficker would give them access to setting up the placements and running the tag generator. So this is really good in case you don't want specific, perhaps, designers going into the placement portions or the tag generator. You can kind of prevent that just to avoid any kind of errors or human error. Okay, so now that we take a look at that, let me actually show you an example of another campaign user account rather, that you can see our creative services. You can see we have lots of different users. We have specific roles broken out for them. We can adjust these roles if we decide later, maybe they would require specific access. We can adjust that here. We can also group these users very easily into groups. So you just go ahead and hit new group, select the users that you would like involved with this group, and then go ahead and name that group. And that's really cool because you're able to send out specific alerts or notifications to an entire group. Maybe if you're setting up a campaign, you could choose an entire group that would be involved with that as well. And you can see what users are involved in what groups just by going ahead and looking at the user list. So okay, so now that we've looked at that, let me show you also under add-ons. This is a good point of interest right here. Actually, well, here at performance benchmarking, I'll go to back to my account. So add-ons right here, I would definitely recommend you to keep the performance benchmarking turned on. This is really good because basically what allows you to do is anonymously aggregate your like the performance of your ad and how your ad is performing, along with that data, along with other campaigns that are the similar or the same industry, as well as the same format. So this is really good, for example, if you're building like an interstitial ad and it was under entertainment, you could see how your interstitial is performing against other ones in the same industry, and it really just allows you to grasp really well how your ad is stacking up against others. And then you can make any creative adjustments. Since all the creative lives here in the Celtra platform, you could easily hop into the unit, make adjustments based on how your ad is performing, and go ahead and hit save. You don't have to re-traffic the ad, it just automatically updates. Okay, so cool. So now that we've kind of gone over that, let's go ahead and start off at square one. Now let's start a new campaign. So we'll just go ahead and name this trafficking session. We can go ahead and choose an industry. Again, if we have the benchmarking turned on, this is where you would choose the type of industry that you'd like to see how your ad is performing against others. We can go ahead and also choose a goal if we wish, and put in the brand advertiser. In this case, I'm just going to put Celtra, and then if you wanted to, you could put the media agency. And then here you would choose the different either groups or specific users involved with this campaign. Go ahead and hit create. So now we can go ahead and take a look at how this campaign lives here within our account. You can see that trafficking session is here. It's under the entertainment and media industry. You can see that if I wanted to, I could put flight dates. It also shows me when the campaign was last updated. And you can also see that there is an idle icon here. So once this campaign is actually live, this will highlight to green, and then you'll know that this is the live campaign. You also start to see this kind of progress bar start to fill up as the total requested impressions start to pull in. So from here, we can go ahead and click into this campaign rather. You also see right here, there's a unique ID. So this unique ID is specific to this campaign. If you wanted to reference internally or externally within your team or other teams, you could go ahead and send them this ID and they would be able to find this campaign. So now that we hop inside of the campaign, we'll just go ahead and build really quickly a sample creative so we can set up some placements for it and then take a look at how to use a tag generator to flight it. So I'll just go ahead and create a new creative. In this case, I'm just going to do rich media. I'll do, let's say, for example, standard expandable banner. And then I'll do phone. And then here's the distribution settings. Since the designers will pretty much be in charge at this point of building out the ads, they can go ahead and select what they know about the campaign or the ad rather here. But this can also be adjusted by the trafficker later at a different point, which I'll show you. But here, if the designer knew if it was going to run only on iOS, for example, they can go ahead and uncheck Android. If they knew it wasn't going to be in-app, they could deselect MRAID, for example, and have web browser chosen. So I'm going to go ahead and check off MRAID and have web browser. I'll show you that these populate into the tag generator later. So now we go ahead and just really quickly, I'll just choose next for the size. Doesn't really matter in this case. And then we'll just go ahead and say our demo unit. Okay. Great. So now we have our demo unit. So now you can take a look at what kind of information is given to us based on our unit. We can see that the unit also has a unique ID, and you can also reference this as well between teams. You can see it gives me the size. It can also tell me when it was last updated, and it also tells me about the distribution settings. You can also adjust these distribution settings here. Again, if you wanted to, maybe you found out later it's also going to run on Android, you can obviously click that and hit save. You'll also see that it has the idle icon here, which again would light up green once this creative is live. I'm going to hop inside of this unit just to do a couple things so I can show you a little more in depth what you can expect when you're looking at setting up third-party tracking and so forth. So really quickly, I'm going to, let's say, I'll grab just like a hotspot here. Maybe I'll put in just a color so we know what we're looking at. Here's our blue banner. Go to my layers panel, make sure that my hotspot is above this. And then I'll drag this out. I'll go ahead and add a standard expand so I can expand to my expanded portion. So then we can go ahead over to our expanded portion of the unit. And I'll go ahead and I'll add another shapey here. So I'm going to just build out something really quickly because I want you guys to kind of understand. Maybe you're involved with trafficking, but maybe this will help you kind of better grasp when the designers are setting up things inside of the ad in our platform. You'll know what to expect as far as when like custom track events happen or open websites happen. So in this case, I have this button here. If I look at my events and actions panel, if I was a designer, I was going to say, okay, when someone taps this button, maybe they're going to send the user to a website. So you'll see a lot of components and specific like things like buttons or swipey may have or inline video may have report labels or may not. So when it does have a report label, this is how it's going to show up within your analytics dashboard. So if I type in here and I say, okay, maybe this is just a placeholder. As a designer, maybe I don't know what the third-party click-through is going to be. I can just put a placeholder, and then the trafficker can go ahead and put the finalized third-party click-through from the placement level. So, whatever you put here can just be placeholder for now for the designer. So rest assured, you don't have to put the third-party click-through here, though you could if you wanted to. But definitely we recommend doing it at the placement level. It's a lot more cleaner. So here the report label, this is what would appear. I could change this. I could say, user tapped through or something, or tapped site, open site, for example. And this is how it would appear within our own analytics dashboard through Celtra. So we can have that there. Maybe I'll have, like, for example, just going to grab a quick logo. let's see right here, this logo on stage. So maybe if I was dealing with the tracking of this unit, and maybe the client for some reason wanted to know every time a user tapped on this logo. So we can go ahead and do a standard track custom event. And this is where you could identify that this logo has been tapped. So you could say user tapped logo, for example. And this is what will appear at the placement level when if you wanted to add third-party tracking to this as well, you could do that from here. So again, track custom events are used for any kind of custom event that you want to track. You could put this track custom event when a user pauses a video or really interacts with anything within the unit. So now I have a click-through website, and I also have when a user interacts with this logo. So I think that's good enough for this example. I'll go ahead and save this and go ahead back to my campaign. So now I can go ahead and show you the reason why I built that out really quickly, because if we go over to the far right side here, we're still under the Creatives tab, so we're looking at the Creative. We can take a look at the different available icons here, which will give us some more configuration possibilities. So the first one here, if we open this one up, again, is your distribution settings, which you can adjust. The next one is a rather important one. So this is our click event definition. So you can see that custom event that I created when the user tapped the logo has populated here. And also my open website, when the user taps the button to click through to the website, also appears here. So by default, the click event definition is the first interaction. So this is basically just how it's going to appear at the first party level of the ad server. So in some cases, this is actually fine to keep it defaulted to first interaction, especially if it's just like a banner, for example, or maybe it's just an interstitial where the first event may just be a click-through. And in a lot of cases, that's okay because you kind of want that first-party click-through to align with, for example, your third-party click-through that you'll be putting in later. So this is okay, but in some cases, for example, where you have a standard expandable unit, that first interaction may not be where you want that click event to happen. So for example, maybe instead you want to go ahead and put that on the open website. In a lot of cases, maybe this makes sense because when you're looking at the reporting, you want it to align. You want to see that when people click through to the website, you're seeing that in your third-party tracking, and you also want that to align in the reporting with your first-party ad server click event. So you can adjust that very easily right here if you wanted to. So this really, no click is created equally, so you can kind of have to decide based on the environment and the type of ad, how you would like to define that first click. So we'll go ahead and keep that as open website. So we'll go ahead and hit save. And then the other options we have here is external tracking. So we're still in the Creative, again, tab. So all of this option here is also available under placements, but I can show you this is also available here, but we won't put that in just yet. And then finally, we have our preview to preview our unit. If we hit preview, it's just the quick thing that I built out. It's a blue banner, you tap it, it expands, and then we have a logo and our button. So the last one is just our QR code here. So this is just to sample it on your phone if you want to scan it directly to your phone. Definitely make sure before trafficking your ad, you want to thoroughly test it, preferably in the environment that it's going to be running in, just to make sure that the clicks are firing off and the behaviors are as you anticipated. So now we can hop over to the placements and start the actual trafficking process. So our designer did his job, his or her job. They built out the unit. They set in whatever information they knew about it, and now they're able to hand this unit off. So now the trafficker would hop into the placement section of this ad, and you can see we have a couple of steps here that we're able to do. The first one, and to really begin the process, would be to create a new placement. So one way to do that is we can go ahead and hit new placement, and we can go ahead and put in the information about this placement. I can just say, for example, placement 1. I could put in any start date or end date information if I knew it. If I wanted to put in any cost information as well, I could do that. And the final thing here, the most importantly, is assigning it to a creative. So none, obviously, this makes no sense. You want to assign it to something, otherwise it's kind of useless. So we'll go ahead and do fixed. So fixed is just basically saying that this placement involves this unit. So I can go ahead and choose that unit. Likewise, you can go ahead and specify it in tag, but this is more of, I would say, agencies mostly use the fixed, where it's more of a one-to-one scenario, serving one placement for this ad, or multiple placements for an ad. But the specified in tag was probably more of a publisher use, where you're going to run one tag that may use multiple creatives that get specified in tag. In this case, we're just going to go ahead and use fix and hit create. So now we can add another placement. We can also take a look at our placement as it sits here. You can see we have, again, this kind of progress bar showing us the total amount of requested impressions. We can see other information if it's supplied. And we also have here, again, our external tracking. So this is where we can plug in any of our impression pixels and click-throughs. And you can see here is my custom event. So my custom event and open websites all populate under here. So these are like your standard ones that are always available. And then here's our custom ones. If we had multiple events that we were tracking, they would all be here, and you'd be able to add third-party tracking to it if you wanted to compare, for example, within our own platform, our own analytics dashboard, we're tracking all of these events. But if you wanted a one-to-one comparison and add third-party tracking as well, you could do that and see how that fares as well. And then also, you can see here, you can set the open website as a use as destination. This also, setting it here, your click-through will override what's set up inside of the unit. So again, don't worry if there's a discrepancy there. What goes here is the final destination. Also, you'll notice here on the right side, you'll see an exposed to supplier. So what basically this does is by checking these off, these will now be available in the tag generator once you publish it. So this is just exposing these additional events that are happening and making them available in case they wanted to add even further tracking as well. So we can go ahead and hit save there. A couple other things to note at this point is obviously if you had multiple placements, so I'm going to go ahead and choose one more placement, placement 2. I'll go ahead and also fix this to the same creative. Let's say you had a bunch of different placements. You could select them all. You could use a publish here and publish all of those links. Each link here is to the tag generator, and it's unique and specific to this placement that you've set up. So each of these placements have their own generator. You can copy all these links together. You can also bulk load if you prefer not to go through this. And let's say you had, I don't know, 20 or 50 placements that you were going to run. Instead of having to go in here and do them one by one, you could go up here and there's this button that allows you to download a template. So this is for a great way to bulk upload your placements. So it's going to go ahead and download this template. You can then open it. And you can see you kind of have the same information where you can just go ahead and paste in your supplier name, your placement names that you wanted. Again, you can put in your planning information, your media pricing if you chose to, and you can also assign it to the creative using this dropdown. You can see the one unit that's currently active in this campaign is available for me to choose. I can also put in more additional information here, such as external tracking for all the events available. So then you could just go ahead and save this, and then you would just upload it right into this drag and drop area. And then it would just populate all of those placements for you. So now that we've kind of gone over the placement setup, we can go ahead and start the part of actually publishing into the tag generator to make the ad live. So all you really have to do at this point, now that you've set up the placement, is hit publish. Once you hit publish, it's going to give you this unique ID. You can send this ID to your ad ops. If you were in charge yourself, you can go ahead and open it, and you can go ahead and take a look at our tag generator. So our tag generator is broken out in a couple of quick steps. So first of all, you're going to choose your environment and then your ad server. And then also you can see at the top, you have the snap view of basically the ad that you're going to be trafficking. You can preview it and also view a QR code to test it on your device to make sure one last time everything's working as it should be. You can never test too much. So now we can go ahead and choose our environment. Again, you're going to see web browser and MRAID is available to me because that's what was chosen at the setup of the distribution settings. So if I were to really quickly head on back over here to my unit, and I could go ahead to my creative, and I could say that, oh, maybe, you know what, we found out it's not going to run on MRAID, it's only going to be on iOS. I can adjust these settings and hit save, and then I could go back to my tag generator, publish this again, and open it. and then you'll see that MRAID is no longer available to me. And you also see I've kind of unlocked configuration compatibility here. So basically, based on the settings you've chosen, the type of unit that you're going to be running, and the environment that it's going to be in, you may have some configuration options. So in this case, we're able to select this banner to be a sticky banner, and we can choose the banner position. So we can choose whether it would be stuck to the top of the user screen or the bottom. So these kind of configurations may vary. Again, it all depends on the type of unit you're going to be building. So just keep a lookout for these configuration settings here to add any additional things that you may want to apply to your unit. So we can also, you can see in this case, we could show or hide the dismiss button. Again, these vary. So once we've chosen the environment that it's going to be running in, we can go ahead and choose the ad server. So in this case, we have a list of certified places where these ads can run. These are probably the more popular ones. In the case that where you're going to be running it is not available, you can go way to the bottom and there is a custom selection. Once you choose a custom selection, you can go ahead and add in your click URL or macros here. You'll see that all my event tracking is also available. You'll see since at the previous step, I chose to expose these events, my custom event to tap logo and my custom event of opening a website, they're now available here to me. Again, if I did not expose these in the previous step, these would not be visible. And again, this is just more like a fourth party tracking system if you wanted to set that up. And then you can see you have additional server info if you wanted to apply that as well, and additional advertising identifiers. So if we'll just go ahead and choose, for the sake of this demo, let's say double click TFP so we can see what you may expect when you're going to be trafficking this ad. So you'll see once you choose what ad server it's going to run on, it's going to give you this step-by-step, super convenient walkthrough of how to set up this tag. So you can see it's step-by-step, and then you have the tag itself right here. So you'll notice that if I go ahead and I adjust this configuration, like make it sticky banner, that down here in the code, the tag, it actually updates itself. So you can now see that this is a sticky banner and it's sticking to the bottom. So this is kind of dynamic based on what you're choosing. So likewise, if I were to go ahead and change from double click to, for example, add Marvel, you'll see my instructions then adjust, and also my tag now adjusts. So this is, the beauty of the tag generator, which is basically allowing you to choose the selections of how your ad and where your ad's going to run, and then it will go ahead and give you the information you need to go ahead and traffic that ad. So as far as the tag generator, I think this pretty much concludes how to use it. Something else I would like to point out to you is under our AdCreator support, there's a lot of great things that you can search for here to aid you in the process of trafficking your ads. For example, if we just go ahead and type in trafficking, you'll see there's a trafficking guideline article, which is really useful. So I'll just click that to show you. It kind of gives you, describes the more popular use case scenarios that you may run into when trafficking your ads. So it'll run you through all different kinds of things that may assist you. You can also hop into here and type in for cache busting. You can look at the macros. You can see how you can set those up as well. You can see you can do a random number with %n. You can see how to also down here do the cache busting with our kind of Celtra random and Celtra session ID for also adding that to your click-throughs or impressions as well. So the support site is very helpful. So make sure that you're leveraging it. Again, there's lots of different trafficking articles that you can read up on as far as trafficking, whether it's in AdCreator, also using outstream videos, and also trafficking tips. It's all here for you. If there's any additional information as well that maybe you're not finding, feel free to hit the contact support button up here on the top right. And this will open up to our contact support page. Again, that's support@celtra.com. And we also give you this kind of friendly way to provide us the information we'll need, so we'll be able to help you. So here are creative issues, things that you may want to include. Here's reporting issues. If you had some reporting issues that you wanted to address, here are the things that you should probably include, and as well as trafficking issues what you could provide us that would make us be able to help you much faster. So I think we did pretty good on timing. I know this was just a 30-minute session, so it kind of went rather quickly, but I hope that I was able to guide you through the world of trafficking and help it make sense to you. It's really great. The tag generator is really user-friendly, and it's a great tool. So if there's any questions, feel free to reach out to us at any time. And I really appreciate your time for listening in. Again, my name is Julio. I'm a product specialist here at Celtra, and have a great day.